Okay, so like you said, I made a movie about inspired by the life of the Archbishop, and also made a documentary as well. The first thing that was made was a documentary because it took me 8 years to make the movie, and in those 8 years, I was going around looking for the people who were involved in the various miracles that were documented in the books written by the Archbishop. And then we told ourselves, myself and my team, that it would be nice to have all those real life people interviewed and at least let's know where they are. Knowing the world we live in now where people are full of doubt and nobody believes in the supernatural anymore. So it was very crucial to find these guys and be able to point people to them when the movie finally comes out. So if anybody's asking, are you sure this is real? We'll just point you to the real person. Go and have the dialogue with the person and find out for yourself. And so it took 8 years, and we found Inuata. Inuata was the first person who the Archbishop raised from the dead. And there was Joy Akborero, who fell from a story building, and her skull was smashed, and the Archbishop was called, and you know the story if you read the books. And there was Joy Akborero, and there was a guy from the Kenyan Crusade whose mother brought him to the crusade when the Archbishop was preaching, and the boy was born without eyes, and the mother would not accept no for an answer when the ushers told her to come back again, that particular night the pastor was only praying for people who were sick. I think when I was interviewing the Archbishop Margaret Benson Idahosa, she said what they actually told the woman was that the pastor was not praying for people without body parts but sick people. And even and yeah. Yeah, the entire church was involved. Yeah. So the first thing I did, the moment I decided I wanted to make it. That was like 8 years prior to when it was made. I have a cordial relationship with the family, so I spoke to Mama. I told her, look, I would like to make a movie about Papa. She said, oh, that would be nice. And I said, but I would like to keep it as real as possible to get all the facts right. And since she's still here, she can give me first-hand details. So I interviewed her. She was the first person I interviewed. So it was I had to match what she told me with what every other person said to be sure that yes, every other person was saying the same thing. And yeah, it was on point. And even she was the one who eventually helped me to find Inuata, and I found her and I interviewed her. So again, the family was carried along. I insisted on doing things the professional way. I requested for. We prepared an agreement where the family gave me the rights to make the movie, the rights to reproduce likeness, rights, story rights, and all of that. So I got all the rights to make the movie, even though we had a relationship, and just by her telling me you could go ahead, I would have been able to do that without that. But again, I believe in doing things right, so I made sure I got the rights, and both the rights to tell the story and the rights to reproduce his likeness. And if you see the movie, the Archbishop was played by Charles Okafor, and a lot of people actually thought it was the Archbishop the first time I posted the picture. And even the person who acted as Archbishop Margaret Benson Idahosa, there was one reporter in the journal who said they could have gotten an actor to even act this. Why did they have to use a real woman? Because he actually thought she was the one. So again, yeah, we carried the family along. The church was carried along. So again, we followed the full process to get the movie done. Yes, the documentary came out first because we used the documentary as a build up to the release of the movie. Yes, and again, because I was still looking for facts, I was trying to get more details of things we could add into the movie. So I was traveling around. I went to Ghana, I went to Senegal, I went to different countries because a lot of the big pastors and most of the churches in West Africa and even around the world now, they all attended the All Nations for Christ Bible Institute, which was founded by Archbishop Benson Idahosa. So again, to get all those stories, I had to travel to go and look for those people to tell me their bit. So that's what formed the documentary. And from the documentary, when it was getting time to make the movie, we started pushing that out, and just to get the interest of people. And again, that on its own, I think it's almost 50 minutes long. It was even compressed for it to be that short. And that on its own is very powerful because people keep sending me messages to say, oh, I saw the documentary on YouTube and I was blessed and everything. Of course, the movie is not on YouTube, but the documentary is there for everybody to see and be inspired by. Yeah. And so again, that's it. So the documentary came out first, and about 7 months later, we went on set to make the movie, and then the movie was out that same year in 2017. Well, the struggles I faced making the movie, of course, they are generic struggles that cut across every genre you're making, every type of movie. But of course, we are making a faith-based movie. There are peculiar struggles you have to face. So I didn't just make a faith-based movie for commercial purposes. I made it because I was convinced. Of course, the reason I made the movie was I had it strong in my spirit to go ahead and make that movie about the Archbishop, because I was in church one Sunday and my pastor was preaching, and he said that the way he's looking at it, a generation will soon come to whom you will mention the name Idahosa and they'll say, who was that? Because they never got to experience it. So I was sitting in church that day and I told myself, God forbid. And yeah, so that was the beginning of the whole thing. And the moment I said that, I was like, God forbid, I'm going to do this. And yeah, so it took time. It was very capital intensive. It was self-funded. I funded the entire movie myself, so you can imagine. So getting the funds to get things done, and I was sure I didn't want to do something shabby. So the budget was really high, but I knew I wanted to do it exactly the way it occurred to me. There was a white guy who the story was anchored around, who was looking for Idahosa, not knowing that the man was dead. Of course, he met someone in the church who thought he was trying to document the things he did in the past. So that's where the conflict of the story. So again, I did my casting to get a Hollywood actor, and I got one. And of course, it's not just like doing something with local actors here. So again, that whole process again took some time before we talked about the negotiations and the agreements and the insurance and all this stuff. And then I brought him in and we made the movie. I think what I'll say very significantly is the fact that the year before I went on set to make it, that was 2016 in December, I was thinking about, okay, yeah, the year is coming to an end. What am I going to do next year? And I was saying, Idahosa Trails, I'm supposed to make that movie. I don't have the money yet. Maybe I'll move it to another year, maybe 2018. And I heard it very clearly. It was very clear in my spirit. And the voice I heard said, how will you be trying to make a movie about a man who lived by faith and you can't go ahead to start the movie by faith? So you can imagine how difficult that was. So, but again, I told my wife about it, and she was like, "Yeah, so let's start planning heavily to shoot in 2017." And all I told myself was that I'm going to start, and throughout the journey, throughout the process, I want to believe that everything I need at every point in time, God is just going to provide as I move on. And yeah, that is actually the testimony about the movie, because I went on set to start making that movie. I flew in the guy from Hollywood and we started the movie. No other person knew about all of this till the end of the movie when we were having a press conference. I said it and he was surprised. And all I had when we set out to start was maybe like 20% of what the budget of the movie was. And we went on set and we started shooting, and by the time that money was finishing, I told her, I said, okay, you are the one that sent me this message. So wherever that supply is supposed to start coming from. And yeah, that's it. So for the next, from that point till when we finished the movie, it was like 2 weeks apart. So for the next 2 weeks, everything I needed was coming on a daily basis. And yeah, that's how I managed to make the movie. And the rest is history. We started shooting in May. We finished shooting in. We shot in 3 blocks. We shot May. We came back, went again, but all together between May and August. Between May and August, we were shooting. Then we came back, did post-production, and the movie hit the cinemas on the 3rd of November the same year. Yeah, the turnout was good. People were anticipating it, although we had our glitches. Being that when the movie hit the cinemas, the you know what they call DCP, digital cinema package. That's what they used to show the movies in the cinemas. So from the distributors' end, they sent out DCPs that weren't actually really powerful. The DCPs had issues. So our opening weekend was ruined as far as I'm concerned. So people were there. I flew in the actor again from the US for the premiere in Benin. Yeah, got all the actors in Nigeria. We flew from because I told myself, okay, I was going to premiere the movie in Benin, inside Faith Arena, Idahosa's church, just to honor him. I could have done it in a cinema or a big hotel, but I just told myself, I'm taking it back to where it all started. So we're all there. We did the first premiere, the world premiere in Faith Arena. Then when it was time for it to hit the cinemas, I made sure it was just 3 days apart, so I don't keep flying this guy from the US all the time. So we did the world premiere. Then when it was time to hit the cinemas, we went back to Benin again, everybody, and it was supposed to break out throughout the whole country. And we started getting the news, oh, it's not showing. We're in Kada cinemas. And Kada said, oh, there's something wrong with the DCP. And I said, yeah, that was sent by the distributors. It shouldn't have a problem. They said, it's not playing. And then I was there, and the calls started coming in from everywhere, every part of the country, the north, the east. Oh, it's not showing in this cinema, it's not showing in this cinema. So again, the first reaction was to be upset and be like, come on, how can this even happen? But again, yeah, it wasn't playing at the cinemas. There was just this issue. But, I just told myself, I said, I wasn't actually expecting that this movie would just come out and everything will happen without any opposition. So again, I was prepared for that, and although it was disheartening because, of course, you make your money back on your opening weekend, that weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you keep doing your publicity to get more people to go and see it. Yeah, but that opening weekend was marred, and but we still insisted that it's go ahead and show it. So I would say, yeah, we didn't make exactly what we were expecting to make from the movie, but again, because why it didn't affect me so much was the fact that it wasn't a movie made because I wanted to make money from it. So so it didn't really shake me at all. I knew it was something I was doing out of obedience, something I was doing out of conviction. For me, it was a missionary journey. So yeah. Everything, not most, everything. Everything. Yeah, every apart from what I'm working on right now, it's like it's like an equity arrangement with me and another party. So it's like 50-50 investments, 50-50 so it's the first time I'm really exploring that. But all the movies I've made over the years for the past 20 years of my filmmaking career, they've all been self-funded. Yeah. Well, I think it was seamless. I started as I was a fine artist, and then I left school. I worked in an agency where I was doing storyboards for agencies, and from there I started meeting film directors who were coming to shoot. Directors who were coming to shoot their commercials, and I realized they needed to do animations. So I taught myself how to make animations. So I was like a supplier, a third-party supplier to them. Like a freelancer, so I was doing illustrations and animation and graphics on a freelance basis. Then I got another job. I was just experimenting. Then I pulled out of the job, went back, and then started my own company. And then, from working with those who were already directing commercials, and I just told myself, okay, I'm going the whole ladder now. So I'm doing animations now. Let me try my hands on directing, because animation, when you do animation, you're actually directing everything. You're directing the characters, directing the lights, everything about it, because nothing exists. You create everything that exists in animation. But then I knew I had to understand what I feel is one of the most crucial parts of filmmaking, which is the cinematography. So I took my time. I spent years just taking pictures and going to any event. Anybody who was getting married, I'll go and take pictures. Yeah, but of course, I knew it was a training for me, so I was taking those pictures without using the normal flash. So the goal was to get these pictures looking very good without using a flash. And yes, that's what's made me who I am today as a cinematographer. Because yeah, it doesn't matter the lighting condition, whether no matter how good or bad, I can always tweak the camera, my settings and everything to get a cinematic shot. So the moment that was perfected, I just dropped the whole advertising and commercial stuff altogether, and I went straight into live action filmmaking. Yeah, so that's my journey so far. Well, if a film director shouldn't just understand cinematography, he should understand every aspect of filmmaking. That's why he's a director, because he's directing all the units. A film director has the vision, the entire vision for the production in his head. So that means everything that makes that scene or the sequence what it ought to be based on his original vision as a director has to come together the way he originally imagined it. So if he doesn't know about any aspect of filmmaking, he will not be able to give his instructions or directions for the person who's handling that part to get it right. So like, I'm a film director, I'm an animator at the same time. I shoot, personally, all my movies I shoot myself, because I'm not bragging, I'm a very good cinematographer. So of course it's tough to find someone who would do things exactly the way it occurs in my head. It doesn't mean they don't exist, but of course I'd rather just do it and go through the stress. But yeah, a project could come up where I would say, yeah, you know what, I don't want to be the cinematographer. Once I find someone who can do it the way I would have done it, yeah, fine, I'll be willing to do that. Yeah, but a film director has a very special relationship, nevertheless, with the cinematographer, because any set where there isn't this seamless flow and understanding between the director and the cinematographer, there's going to be confusion, because the director might say, okay, I'm just focusing on the performances and the blocking and all of that, while the cinematographer is telling the same story with his camera. The cinematographer is like the painter on the film set, so he's painting the scenes with lights and shadows and tones and everything, and at the same time with the camera movement. So one thing anybody who knows me knows before is fact that I don't like a lot of talking heads. I don't like films where people just talk and talk and talk and talk. With a body gesture, I could say the same thing that words wanted to say. With a slight movement of my camera or my lighting design, I could tell the same story that you would have needed dialogue for. So for me, the dialogue only comes in when it's extremely crucial. So if it's not extremely crucial for you to say that thing or to use dialogue, if the camera could do it more effectively, or my lights could do it more effectively, or even just a look on your face could do it more effectively, I'd rather do that than have you talk. So again, a film director has to know every aspect, up to makeup, costume, everything, because again, anything that goes wrong on a film set is pinned on the director. So it's a great movie, they say, oh, the director did a good job. It's a bad movie, the director messed up. So even if the thing that was bad about the movie was just the sound, like you're a documentary filmmaker, you might shoot some scenes and the audio doesn't come out well. When that material hits the internet or wherever it's going to be shown, nobody will talk about the sound guy. They'll be like, the director of this stuff messed up. You understand? So again, so it's that's why they say it's a director's movie. The director takes the glory when things are good, and he takes the fall for everybody when everything doesn't work well. I wrote it myself. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, as a director, you have to know everything. It doesn't mean you have to do everything. If you don't have it in you, there are few people who have that gift who can do practically everything. I can say I can do everything that's needed to make a movie, everything. So I make a lot of short movies, for instance, because I can just handle everything myself, even without stressing myself. So again, there are few people, like if you research, you find out people like Stanley Kubrick, and the rest of them, and even Hitchcock was that eccentric too. But Stanley Kubrick very, very, very specifically, because he was an author too, so he could do practically everything himself. And so all his pictures were very personal. Every movie made by Stanley Kubrick is a very personal masterpiece that just captures all his intention without any adulteration at all. Well, actually, for stunts, for any movie that has stunts, uh, the first thing that you have to do when you're casting for the characters, that means that has to be a prerequisite. You know what I'm trying to say? So it has to be there. Whoever is coming to read for that character should know that this character is expected to do this sort of thing in the movie, and so the person has to prove that he or she can get it done. So in Nigeria, you see, the truth about it is that the actors in Nigeria are quite versatile. In Hollywood, there are just a few actors who do their stunts themselves. People like Tom Cruise, who's a die, who's like a daredevil guy, does everything himself. But in Hollywood, they have stunt doubles who are like, yeah, that's a whole profession on its own. But in Nigeria, that doesn't exist. So of course, there are one or two or three guys I know who perform stunts. But it doesn't mean like it's an organized or well-structured aspect of the filmmaking industry as it is in Hollywood. So in Nigeria, what you have actors who go all the way to develop themselves or prepare themselves for that eventuality. So if it's necessary to have a stunt in a movie, they can still pull the stunt themselves. So as a director, when you're doing your casting for that movie, it becomes one of the things that determines who gets the role. And then all the actors have to know that yes, this is going to happen in this movie, and then you have to make the special arrangements. You have to, of course, that calls for extra pay, and it should naturally call for insurance as well, just in case anything goes wrong. So, yeah, that's how it goes. So for all the movies I've done that required stunts, that's what I did. Like Behind the Wheels, where I had this guy who was on fire, and from the beginning he knew that was going to happen. We planned for it. We had a separate actors agreement for the stunt he was going to do, with the terms and conditions and everything, plus insurance and all of that. So again, yeah, so you can get actors who will be able to perform your stunts, but then you have to vet 100% to be sure that nothing's going to go wrong, and they have to prove that they can do it even before you go on set. So you don't go on set waiting for them to do it on set. You find out and verify that they can do it before you go on film. Yeah. My formal education, as far as it goes, is just fine arts. I'm a fine artist, and I'm a fine art generalist, and I'm a painting specialist. Of course, that's the bedrock upon which I'm doing everything I'm doing. Because a fine artist, you create worlds, you invent things. Like Leonardo da Vinci, if you go and look at the history of mankind, the earliest expose anybody had into the internal workings of the human body, they were gotten from the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci, who would go to the morgue and get dead bodies and sometimes go and exhume them and tear them open to draw the internal parts of the human body. So an artist is a very versatile person who can actually easily create worlds. So with that level of creativity and imagination, it's very easy to excel in the film industry. So all you now need to do is understand and learn the technicals, which anybody can. So if everybody is on the same page and have equal level of skill when it comes to the technicals, then an artist stands a shoulder above everyone else, because beyond the technicals, he has that high level of creativity that some other people only dream of.